All right, welcome everybody. This is our June 23rd training call with Brian and myself, Al Cardi. What we wanted to do today is really go over compensation with you and how it works. So I'm going to start with the guidelines, but then I want to take you through the actual pay grid so you can see how all that works. And then Brian, I'm sure you're going to cap this off at the end. What I want to do is let's start right up here with the Freedom Equity Group promotion guidelines. Brian, you can see my screen okay?
Yeah, can you make it a little bigger?
Sure. What we want to do is, how's that? That better? Okay. So, of course, you know, when people get started with us, they start with us on a part-time basis, right? Most cases. And if they have no licensing or anything, they're starting at a 40% level. And what I want to do is go through the standard guidelines, and of course we know the fast track, right? To go to a district manager in our comp plan, which is a 50% district manager, you can see it says 10,000. TP means target premium. Okay, this is on a personal level. You'll notice here there are three columns here: personal production, team production, and personal income. We're going to focus mostly on the team production, but we do have alternate ways people can get there, right? So to go to district manager personally, you have to personally have your name on $10,000 of target premium. You'll see NTP, that means new target premium, and there's no time frame on that. Or you can do this with your team, a minimum of 3 direct agents, and you do $15,000, but it's collectively with your entire team, and you would go to district manager. Now, to go to division manager, you'd need an additional $15,000 of new target premium, again, personally, or 20 additional new target premium and 4 directs total to go to division. And then, of course, VP, an additional $20,000 in personal production. I'll summarize this in a minute. New target premium, or $20,000 additional new target premium, 5 direct license agents, and 15 licensed downline agents total or combined. And you would go to the VP level. And, of course, if you have a $75,000 cumulative past income of 12 months of 75, you could go to VP, okay? So let me summarize this real quickly for you as we move through the VP level, okay? Personally, you do 10, 15, and 20, which is $45,000 of target premium, no time frame, and you go to VP. Or you do 15, 20, and 20, or $55,000 of target premium. Collectively with your team, you have 5 direct licensed agents, 15 total, you go to VP, or you have $75,000 of income the last 12 months. Now, of course, if you're brand new starting here, you can do it any way you like. You can do it any way of one of these 3, or you can take the fast track, which is on the right here. The fast track to VP is 60 days. You get licensed within that 60-day period of time. Obviously, you own the policy. You have 5 direct agents, and you do $15,000 of target premium, and this will get you to the same level of VP at a fraction of the production, right? So in the case of personal, it's 1/3 the production, less than 1/3 team production, and of course, income-wise, this is the fastest way. So anybody coming on board with us, we really should be showing them the value of the fast track, because anybody who sees our standardized promotion guidelines would probably prefer to have you help them get 5 new agents on board. They become a product of the product. On our average IUL of, you know, $300 a month or $3,000 a year, they would immediately qualify for VP once they have passed their test. And as long as they've done that within 60 days, they would fast track the VP, okay? So this is on a basis of getting to VP, as I said, on 3 or 4 different tracks: personal income, team production, personal production, or of course the fast track. Now, once we've achieved the level of VP, okay, I'm going to move on here to SVP. How does SVP work? You also have 3 ways that you can qualify for SVP, okay? You can do it in a rolling 30-day period of time, personally. Now, by the way, folks, you can't mix the two. So if it's personal, that means you did it all with your own pen in a 30-day period of time. You put your name on $60,000 of new target premium, and you made it to SVP. Or you can do it in a 90-day rolling program, which is $150,000 of new target premium over 90 days with your entire team. You would also qualify for Senior Vice President. Now, I do want to mention to you, these levels here require a minimum of no more than a third coming from one leg, and I'll explain that in a minute. Or you can have $100,000 of cumulative income over the last 12 months, and you'd also be a Senior Vice President. So once again, you have 3 ways to do it. You can do it personally with target premium in a 30-day period. You can do it with your team over a 90-day period of time, or you can do it with income over the last 12 months, okay? Now, the third from one leg, here's what that simply means, okay? If you have 3 legs and that means if you divide 150 by 3, no more than 50,000 can count from any one individual leg. It's not a third of their production, it's a third of the requirement. So if the requirement is 150,000 and you have Bill, Mary, and Joe, you can only count up to 50,000 of their production over the 90 days. So if Bill does 100, that's great. You get paid on it all, but you can only count 50 of his production. So it has to be balanced through 3 legs, okay? So as we move on to MVP, you have a similar scenario, okay? You can do $115,000 in new target premium, or you can do $300,000 new target premium with your team over a rolling 90-day period. Again, no more than a third from one leg, or you can do it with an income requirement. And this goes all the way down. I'm not going to go through each and every line with you, but here's what I do want you to see is the founder level has now been added. Now, you can't do it through personal target premium, but you can do it with income, which is $1 million of income last 12 months, or $1 million of new target premium over the last 90 days. Once again, no more than a third coming from each individual leg. Now, understand, the more directs you have, the easier it is to get there, right? So when you divide the requirement by 3, let's just round it off to 330,000. If you have 10 legs, then if they each do 100, you get there, right? So you understand, the more directs you have, the easier it is to get there, unless they're all down in one leg, in which case you have to have the other 2, okay? So the higher levels of management, SVP to founder, clearly the simplest way to get there is through building a team. This is the best way to get there because it's going to build your passive income along the way. This is where the 3-leg requirement minimum or production can only come, you can only count 50 through 1 leg happens. Now, for some of you that have a lot of people that are direct to you that are, say, division managers or district managers or reps, those count as what we call your base shop. A base shop is essentially, or your base is all non-VP people that report directly to you, okay? So therefore, if a direct to me is a division manager, all people under that team or with that team are part of what I might call my base, okay? That would also count towards your team requirements. So it's your base plus those 3 legs. So if you have, again, a lot of non-VP people working directly with you, we encourage that. That's the RVP factory, if you will, but that will count towards your production towards promotions, okay? So these are the new guidelines that rolled out, probably about 2 months ago. The fast track is still in place. Nothing on the fast track has changed whatsoever. Of course, I would encourage you to show this to all new people coming on board. I think when they see the difference of how to get their personally, team, or personal income, they will opt for the fast track, and it will certainly give them an incentive to get it done. Keep in mind, how does our fast track work? If you sprint, you immediately get promoted to 50%, okay? And you're actually, that's one requirement for your fast track to VP. 5 people over the next 60 days who do the same thing, you move right up. If you get 3 that do it in 30 days, you move to division manager. That's our fast start, and you're 60% of the way to VP. You get 2 more, and you fast track to VP. Ultimately, we want everybody to fast track, but it's important for them to understand that if they don't fast track, there is still a way for them to get there, and their production counts cumulatively, whether it be personal or team, once they get to the VP level. After VP, then it's either a rolling 30 or a rolling 90 days, okay? So shifting gears here, because we really want to try to keep these calls tight. The other thing that has come up is I want to talk to everybody about income here, and this is the beta calculator. Hopefully everybody can see this okay. I want to start with the anatomy of a commission. Here's how it works. I want to take you through this. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. Monthly premium on a case is $300 times 12 is $3,600 of commissional premium. So let's say that this was 100% target and your commission level is a VP. You would earn 75% of $3,600, which is $2,700. Now, it is important to realize that commissionable premium will be paid at your current, at your contract and or override level. 75% is advanced to you upon issue, and the balance paid as earned in months 10, 11, and 12, plus 13 months and beyond. So let me explain what that means. The $3,600, your total annual commission is $2,700. That's the total annual. Remember, the client only sent in 1 check of $300. So what the company is doing is they're advancing you 9 months of your commission, which would be 75% of the $2,700 up front upon the first check cashing. So you got 9 months of your commission based on 1 check being sent in, $300. And then the balance is paid to you in the 10th, 11th, and 12th month. So this here will help you understand that a little bit better, okay? $300 commissionable premium. You're earning 100% of it, meaning you did not do a split case with anybody. So your commission level is 75%. That's $2,700. Your advance commission for 9 months upon submission of 1 check is $2,025. That's what you will receive in your check. And then in months 10, 11, and 12 of that policy year, you would get $225 each of those months, okay? So $225 month 10, again in month 11, again in month 12. Now, also keep in mind, if the client pays an annual premium of $3,600, so upon submission and you submit a check for $3,600, then you get paid the full $2,700 right up front because they paid for the entire year. So monthly, you get 75% advanced. If it's annual, you get the entire amount, okay? So I know sometimes people forget that. We're very unique in the fact that we don't pay on submission, but we do pay on issue, which in our opinion is the best way to do it because now it's a policy that is accepted, it is paid for, and therefore you get 75% of that entire year's commission right up front within whatever, a week, even though they only paid 1 premium check, okay? So if you're looking to determine your monthly cash flow, you said, okay, well, my desired cash flow is $10,000 a month. You can put whatever number you want here. This is the beta calculator, folks. If you said, I want it to be $7,000, we'll work on that. Advanced commission, 9 months, right? 75%. Your contract level is 75%. Well, you need to submit an annual premium required of $12,444. Monthly, that would be $1,037. Of course, that's cumulative, right? So if you did, say, 1 policy a week, okay? Of 3,000, that would be 12,000. And this just breaks it down for you what you need, okay? Your commission level, your monthly target would be $9,300. Your as earned commission would be $778 a month. So in other words, in order for you to cash flow $7,000 this month, you need to do $12,000 because you get paid on 75% of that, and then you get 75% advance. So hopefully everybody follows that. Okay. If you want to make $10,000 in your pocket cash flow, now remember, your cash flow for the entire year is exactly that number. Okay. So this would be $13,333 in this example, is your cash flow for that month, for the year, but for that particular month, because of the advanced commissions, and of which you only get 75%, you'd need to do, in this scenario, $17,700. You get paid on $13,300. You get 75% of that up front, and there's your $10,000. Okay? So you can calculate this at any level. Here, there's a little drop down. If you were at 60%, what would you have to do? Obviously, you'd have to do more premium. So if you wanted to make $5,000, you'd have to do $11,000. You get your commissionable would be $6,600. 75% of that is $5,000. Okay. Now, and I know I'm moving quickly, folks, but we want to get this all in the time allotted. What I want to do is just show you one more calculator here, and that's based on right down here. Okay, Brian, can you see the screen? Okay, can you see this gray area?
Yep, you can see it great.
Okay. Okay, so here I generate, and folks, this is the magic in our compensation plan, okay? So this, again, I'm starting at the VP level, and we're just going across to the ENVP. There's no founder in this picture here, but 75% is what you earn as a VP. And I want you to understand we also have 5 levels generations below, okay? So if you have a VP, Al's a VP, Brian's a VP, I make 75% when I write a deal. When Brian writes a program, he gets 75%, but he is my first generation, so I would get 9. If Brian brought on Jeff, and the same thing would happen for Brian, he would get 9 on Jeff, I would get 3 because Jeff is a second generation. If Jeff brought Fred, I would get 2, and Arlene, I'd get 2, and say Billy, I'd get 1. And below that, you see it stops at 5 levels, okay? So our generational overrides run through 5 generations. But look at the magic across the top. There's 2 different ways we get paid. We get paid through 5 levels this way, and we have what we call floating bonuses. In other words, when you get promoted, it actually means something. You actually make more money, not just because you're doing more volume. You actually get a higher percentage. So what does that mean? If I'm going to just skip to NVP. At NVP, you earn 80% on your personal business. And now let's say Brian is still at VP. Well, when Brian closes a deal, he gets 75%. I still get 9 plus the difference between 75 and 80, which is 5, so I get 14. So basically, the 5 generations are exactly the same, and what's added to that is the floating bonus between the 75 and the 80. So that turns it into 14,877,6. But here's the magic, folks. We have an infinity comp plan. I would get 5% through infinity in that scenario, okay? So now consequently, if I am an ENVP at 86%, Brian's at 75%, Brian closes a deal, he gets 75, I close one, I get 86. When he closes one at 75, I get 9 plus the difference of 75 and 86, which is 11, making it a total of 20. So in the scenario of me becoming an ENVP and Brian is a VP, I now get 20% on a first generation, 14, 13, 13, 12, and 11% from infinity. Folks, let me tell you something. There is no payout in the industry that works this way, where it actually pays an infinity bonus because of our, or an infinity override because of our floating bonuses between the individual levels. Now, of course, when Brian reaches my level of ENVP and we're both at 86%, then I revert back to the 93221. Okay? So in other words, now Brian's getting 86. I get 86. He's still a first generation, so I still get the 93221. But the infinity bonus is no longer there once my directs reach my level of compensation. But if I am one level above them, then I will always have a floating bonus that goes to infinity. Okay? Now, this is an important piece in our comp plan, and that's why it's important for you to understand how it works and how the pay structure works. There's no other comp plan that has these infinity bonuses. So therefore, when you get promoted in our system, it has significant value to your compensation, okay? Now, we've all seen the calculator here, okay? We all know how this works, but I think the important thing is we're just going to use 3 people doing 10 a month, okay? You can see the difference of you being an MVP of 151,000 versus you being a VP, it's 97,000. What's the difference there? The floating bonus. Remember, the difference between MVP and VP is 5 points. So my comp level here on a first generation is no longer 9. It's 9 plus the 5. The difference between 75 as the VP and 80 as the MVP, this compensation goes up by as much as 50%, right? I went from 9 to 15%. So therefore, my override income went up. So you can see the value of our comp plan. I'm not sure if everybody understood that. There's one last point I want to bring out, and that is, well, what happens if somebody becomes a senior vice president before I do? Not to worry, folks, okay? So let's say Al's a VP, and I bring Brian on board, and Brian qualifies for SVP before I do, or he qualifies for MVP before I do. Now, why could that happen? That could happen because maybe I don't have 3 legs. Maybe I have 1 leg, like Brian, that is doing a significant amount of volume. He may have 3 or 4 or 5 legs, but he's still only 1 to me because he's direct to me. So he, rightfully so, qualifies for national vice president. Well, I didn't qualify. I'm still a VP. Well, Brian is still my first generation, so I still get 9 points. Our system, there is no pass up. You never lose your people. They're always part of your team, and you'll always be compensated on them, even if they go to the top level and you still are at the VP. They still are a first generation, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now, what you do sacrifice by not staying ahead of the pack, if you will, is the floating bonus between the different levels. But the generations, you never, ever lose. It is the fairest comp plan ever that I've ever seen in the history of financial services because there is no breakage. There is no slippage here. You never lose your good people. So if you were fortunate enough to recruit some good people and you achieve the level of VP, and that's where the magic starts. Understand, VP is where this magical comp plan works. Once you're there, you will always earn money from your entire organization for duration of time because you've reached what I call the profit share position, and that's the vice president position. So I went through this kind of quick. Hopefully you'll get that. Again, the value, when I look at the calculator of you building a business that does just, 10 sales a month, and this is your base shop, right? These are non-VP people. You can see your income based on 10 a month. That's $162,000. If you created 3 vice presidents who do the same thing, okay, that's a business of 40 sales a month. That's $259,000. However, you would have been promoted by now, certainly to the MVP level, and look what happens to your income. It's over $300,000. If this just went one more level, okay, the 3 people that became your vice president duplicated themselves, you would again be promoted, certainly to the ENVP level. Look at the income, folks, for the type of business you're doing. There's no comp plan that's designed this way with the fairness involved without any. There are some companies that require you to give up people when you reach certain levels. None of that is here at FEG. You get paid 100% for your business, and once you get to the profit share position. Now, clearly, if you're a division manager and somebody gets to VP prior to you, I'm not sure how that's possible, but I guess if it is possible, then you would not be overriding that person until you reach the VP level. However, you did not lose that person, and that's what's important for you to understand. Once you become a VP, that person is still slotted under you, and then you would begin to get the 9%. So hopefully this was helpful to you today. We did record this. We'll have it available to everybody in the back of Free to Builder info. We have a compensation video back there, but that will get upgraded. But before we sign off, Brian, let me turn it back to you, Brian, so you can add some additional comments to this.
Thanks, buddy. Great job. I can't believe you covered it in 29 minutes. That was phenomenal. Hey, couple quick questions here. How is target premium established? Target is a number that the insurance company uses to pay commissions on, right? In IUL, you've got a minimum premium, a target, and a max. Target's usually somewhere in the middle there. Can you address what we have to do for our team members in the way of a transmittal? Yes, our vice presidents must complete the transmittal, send them to your founder for approval, and then we submit them to the company from there. Nice spreadsheet calculator. Is this posted on Facebook? I don't think it is, but we will certainly post it up there and get it out to you. John Moreno wants to know where are the calculators. John will put them in Facebook. Is there an annual residual for year 2 and beyond, and if so, what would that be?
There is. With Anaco, there is a 1% renewal at the VP level from years 2 through 10. So there is a small residual. Most of the money is paid on policies like this here, especially nowadays upfront in the first year.
So Avery says, we're recruiting experienced agents. They say, I've got a 120% contract. Why do I want to work for you for 75%? Well, let's put it this way. If you're a personal producer and that's what you want to do is chase the cheese, probably not the place for you here. If you had 700 licensed agents and overrode them at 10%, across the board kind of thing, now you're looking at a 7,000% contract. Of course, you can't get that from the companies. You can't. It wouldn't take much in the way of having a handful of producers to outperform even. I find it very tough to believe that somebody could find a street contract for 120. But even if they did, it doesn't take much of. And the other videos that we have talk about that. The idea of giving up the orange to keep the orange tree is the idea. First of all, how much do you make if you produce nothing under the first scenario? Well, the answer would be 0. You take time off or don't produce, etc. The second is you leverage time and you leverage income with the comp plan. And then the last thing that I would say about the comp plan is, Al talked about, and I don't even want to say competitors because they're not. As a matter of fact, one of the senior vice presidents or national sales directors or whatever for the company looked at the comp plan and said, you can't pay that out. There's not enough money in the comp plan to pay it out. Well, Freedom Equity Group runs a very lean machine and pays out to the field way more than any other company, even with a similar multi-pay compensation plan, way more. 3 to 5 times more money. So to give you for instance, I talked to a guy the other day with another company, and I said, look, if you made $50,000 at that other company, you would have made $150,000 here for the exact same amount of activity. So when you get your check next time, you think, I could have gotten a check for $150,000. I send $100,000 back to the company and keep 50. That's what it's like. I mean, that's how big of a difference it is. Now, I made the move from one of these other companies over here. I didn't do it because of the pay plan. I did it because of the integrity and management. But I'm very, very happy that I did because I'm making 3 to 5 times more money under this comp plan than the competition out there. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions.
Hey, Brian, just one more add-in to that. Let's just say this here. Somebody who's on a 120% contract, there are certain things that they have to do. First of all, that's a linear format, right? So in other words, if they're on 120, what are they going to give me, 100? What can I give somebody, 80? So you can see there's a breakdown. You can't build duplication in a linear format. That system is going to fall apart. Here's the second thing. You have to provide licensing. You have to pay commissions. You have to provide support, right? Well, that's worth at least 20 to 30 points to provide that support for an agent. Remember, at FEG, we have no licensing. We have no contracting. That's all done by the company. Here's the other thing. You may have a 120% contract with one carrier. Do we live in a society that one size fits all? The only way you're going to get a 120, which is not street level, by the way, that's general agent level, you have to be providing them a significant amount of volume, which means if you want to have 3 or 4 or 5 companies, you need to be providing a mega amount of volume for all those companies to hold that top contract. It's not going to happen. What tends to happen is those agents become one-trick ponies. They're selling one company because they have a high contract and they have lower contracts, which are more like 80% everywhere else. The beauty of our system is we're a producer group. All of our production counts as a whole. We get top contracts, the very best contracts with all carriers because of our volume. So when you take the 20 to 30 points out to service those agents, you take the fact that we can represent a multitude of companies at a high compensation level, which, by the way, folks, is good for the consumer. I think we can all agree if you're a one-trick pony, because that's where most of your money comes from, you're going to have more of a tendency to sell that one product versus have diversification. So our program is not only good for our agents, it is in the best interest of the client because we can provide them the best vehicle for them.
Beautiful. Let's see. Total premium on division manager or DBM? No, Monica, that's cumulative to get to vice president. Great answers, Alan Bryan. Jeff says, is Anico still at 71.72 for VP? No, it's 75.
No, it's 75. What we haven't talked about is on their term products, they're actually a little bit higher. So on the term products, 20 and 30-year term, it's actually 80%. We're talking about the IUL. The IUL is at 75.
Excellent. Okay. With that, I don't see any more questions. I think everyone's got it. My recommendation is to sit down with a piece of paper, start running a couple of scenarios, take your check. It takes a little while to wrap your head around the comp plan, but know that these guidelines, by the way, match up perfectly with President's Club. So go for President's Club. Go for your Sprint Award, Fast Start, Fast Track, Green Shirt, White Shirt, Light Blue Shirt, etc. Hitting those levels and your team hitting those levels by focusing on the shirts and those promotions for President's Club will take you right to the promised land. And it's, in my opinion, the absolute simplest way and the most exciting way. And visually, looking around the room and watching the colors of the shirts change colors and the incomes change colors, I think is the most exciting thing. Great job. Anything else? You want to click the recorder off?
That's it. Go ahead. We can shut down the recorder. Thanks for joining, everybody. We'll have this in the back office in a day or so.